Alright, what's up guys? So, IGN has uploaded their review for the campaign in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. I wasn't gonna fall for it because, that's what I did last year, bought Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. And yeah, campaign was all fun and stuff. Then when the game, like when the whole game released, it was buggy, game was crashing. I'm saying, like, it was stuff where I was like, fam, how is it that you guys go from the OG Modern Warfare 2 to this version of Modern Warfare 2, and you guys are trying to make it seem like that what Call of Duty is today is like this is the future of gaming. It's not. It's many. You pretty much, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 was like, you guys is at the tippy top of the stairs, and then out of nowhere, y'all caught like the meanest kangaroo kick all the way back down the stairs, and then that's when y'all ended up with, this day and age of Call of Duty. But I don't get it. I just don't get it, and I think, yeah, campaign will probably be the only thing that remotely had worked in Call of Duty, but other than that, it was like the co-op mode was messing up, multiplayer was messing up, Warzone was messing up, DMZ was somewhat decent, but yeah, I just don't see myself, maybe if it's on sale for like $20, or if they, decide, because I'm saying, that just don't make sense to me. Microsoft, you guys buy the game, but you don't put the game on the Xbox Game Pass. I don't get that. It's like, if you guys are going to buy the game, maybe, I don't know, maybe next year they might do it with, like, whatever Call of Duty comes out. But I'm saying, like, this Call of Duty should have been on the Xbox Game Pass. Most likely, I think if sales don't do well, or if it gets bad ratings, then they'll probably add it on the Game Pass. But I see it as that, Activision is trying to make all this money that they possibly can off of Call of Duty. And it's like, you guys need to stop worried about the money for 1 second and worried about what the fans want. And you guys are trying to, like, oh, let's add little things here and there. And I'm like, no, just make Call of Duty into what it once was years ago when I got into playing it. I remember my first Call of Duty was Black Ops. And I would rather have that Call of Duty. I mean, I ended up buying that so I could play that and things, but yeah, it's like the old Call of Duties is what slaps. Like, you'll look at the reviews for those and see that they got good reviews and stuff. And then when you see this, it's like, it trips me out that the last Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, the new Modern Warfare 2, it was either a very negative or overwhelmingly negative rating on Steam. And I'm like, you guys should have seen, like, that as a sign right there that we're not doing something good with the Call of Duty franchises. So yeah, y'all gonna have to change up some things. But no, let's go ahead and see what the I guess, yeah, what the single player review is like. I heard some good things. Some things were spoiled for me. Most likely they'll get talked about in this video, but make sure you go subscribe to IGN. And then that being said,
turn us around! Turn us around now!
Modern Warfare 3 has perhaps the worst Call of Duty campaign I've played. It's shallow, dull, and plays less like the greatest hits and more like underbaked cover versions of missions past. It's too busy looking back at former glories rather than focusing on making new moments worth remembering, wrapped up in a borderline incoherent story with nothing to say. The only part we haven't seen in a campaign before falls flat, bizarrely cobbling together pieces of the Warzone mode into actively bad sandbox missions, abandoning all of what made Call of Duty so great at its peak, and instead delivering a dull string of missions that amount to a thoroughly disappointing handful of hours.
Oh, so did they try to do that too with campaign, is making it to like an open world? I did talk on that. I would have liked to have seen that, because I know they didn't, it wasn't really open world, but I was like kind of like a open world settings, but kind of like how Infinite Warfare was, where it's like, you choose a bunch of different missions. But they should, well, not open world, but like, yeah, just kind of, I guess, something in that fashion. It sounds like that's what they did, because I do remember they were talking, somebody was like talking about that, how they did like the campaign in Infinite Warfare. And yeah, it's just, yeah, I think what you guys need to do is like go back further, in the older Call of Duty games. But anyways,
Sledgehammer Games' big new addition this time around is the introduction of open combat missions, which make up half of the story's chapters. They're multi-objective arenas that aim to let you tackle tasks in any order and by whatever method suits your playstyle best. Unfortunately, they're symptomatic of Modern Warfare 3's flawed approach as a whole, opting for a thin veil of openness and choice over Call of Duty's once trademarked blockbuster storytelling. They rarely feel curated or authored, but instead are just spaces you're dropped into and basically told to make your own fun. fun. This sandbox approach doesn't fit what I'm looking for in a
Also,
Call of
it
Duty
is.
single-player story at all, and feels at odds with what made the original Modern Warfare trilogy the height of cinematic shooters. More than ever, this year's campaign bears an uncomfortable resemblance to its multiplayer companion, as Warzone and DMZ's open world approach bleeds further into the level design to its detriment.
Use it against them, Kilo.
I intend to.
And they probably think like, oh, it's the cutscenes that people are there for. No, it's for gameplay too. The thing is this. If you go and look at like the old Call of Duty games and how their gameplay was in the games, it's like, fam, that's what we want. It's the gameplay that we're bothered about. Yeah, you guys can do whatever you want with campaign and story and all that stuff, but it's like, fam, we're worried about gameplay. We're wanting to know if gameplay is going to be good. And based off of it, I did kind of want something to this fashion, but if people are not liking it, then, bruh, I don't know if I'll go out and buy this guy. I don't know. I know I'm not going to go out and buy this game. Like I said, either on sale or on the Xbox Game Pass.
Wanted this,
but I'm not
I'd just
paying
drop
full
into the
price.
Battle Royale solo and run around opening boxes and fighting enemies that are actually interesting. These are criminally all solo character missions too, with communication to team members limited to radio chatter. As a result, there's zero sense of camaraderie, as that original Call of Duty pillar of squad mentality and fighting with your AI teammates is brought crashing down. They all end up blending into a rinse and repeat experience I felt like I was playing over and over, just in different locations. One particular chapter, titled High Rise, did manage to deliver relatively consistent excitement, as I ascended multiple floors of an apartment building, hunting down a target the raid style. But in all honesty, the enjoyment I garnered from this mission type was fleeting, and I soon found myself producing a small, audible sigh each time the words Open Combat Mission appeared on the screen. There are a handful of more traditional Call of Duty style linear missions though, and those offer more consistent fun, but they neither have great highs nor lows. The best is a journey across a frozen tundra involving a snowstorm decorated shootout at a shipyard. One stealth focused mission delivers very faint echoes of the Call of Duty classic All Gillied Up, thanks to its potential for 2-for-1 headshots.
2-for-1.
But, as many imitators have found out since, sniping and a whole lot of laying down in the grass does not necessarily a great mission make, failing to capture the same level of tension that iconic mission provided.
I don't know, me, I'm like, it does sound good, but I don't know, like, I know there have been times, like, you know, IGN, it's like a 50-50 chance on whether or not the, you know, review is going to be accurate, but I'm just going based off of my last experience with Call of Duty, and I'm like, it wasn't a good experience. You know, I had to say that last Call of Duty is probably one of the worst Call of Duties that I played. But, I mean, I don't know, like, it sounds fun. I will say that, at least that, I will say that it does sound fun, but still, it ain't convincing me to go jump out and buy the game.
Campaign's opener takes place in a dark, rainy gulag, transplanted directly from Warzone's Verdansk. It holds promise, and can't help but conjure up memories of the original Modern Warfare.
I think if they would do that, though, if they continuously keep adding missions and stuff, like, each season, or like, oh, okay, there's a new mission, you gotta go out and do this, and this. I think that would, you know, that'll also give people a reason, because I feel like when I beat campaign, then there isn't no reason to go back and play it. So yeah, I'm saying, like, maybe if they continuously keep adding missions, make it more, I guess, single player friendly too, because, you know, I know there's people out there that don't really like playing either with people or online. So yeah, you know, give people a little bit more of a single player option. So they do some along those lines, and I think, yeah, single player might be the only good thing that they could do with Call of Duty. Work on that.
Price rescue mission, but it sadly never reaches the same level of excitement due to enemy encounters being incredibly simplistic in nature. Once again, this proves how much this campaign is caught between trying to look to the past for familiar thrills and failing when looking forward and creating new mission types. A prime example of this struggle is another stealth infiltration mission, which encourages you to holster your gun completely in a rather dull exercise that mostly consists of strolling around another Verdansk landmark. This time, it's Northern Airfield, and suffering insta-fail death screens if you dare step within 6 feet of someone. It's yet another example of Modern Warfare feeling like a patchwork of old fabrics, as new exciting locations are a rarity, and pieces of Verdansk are recycled to diminishing effect. In total, it makes for a fairly forgettable set of missions this time around, even when it's trying its best to unsettle you with its story.
Power is fueled by those who seize it.
There's a reluctance to tell that story through gameplay. Instead, you carve your way through enemies before underwritten cutscenes move the plot along. This formula persists throughout and doesn't allow for moments like the Eiffel Tower falling around you in 2011's Modern Warfare 3 or shock and aw's explosive ending from the original Modern Warfare to occur here, instead reserving all of the scenes of limited impact for cinematics. They're undeniably beautifully rendered, complete with lifelike character models, but they do make for more of a story you end up watching unfold rather than feeling like you're an active participant in. It's another example of what the original No Russian in Modern Warfare 2 did so well, putting you at the centre of its atrocities, but instead you're often kept at arm's length here, resulting in an emotionally distant experience. That being said, a similar trick is played here, with this version's take on No Russian placing you once again amid a horrific terrorist incident. It's an arresting event that at least tries to put you in the shoes of a hero, albeit with a predictable tragic outcome looming. Of course, context is important. When I first saw Clean House from 2019's Modern Warfare isolated from the rest of that campaign, I found it jarring. But within the context of that story as a whole, it's clear to see it's one of the most effective.
From that 2019's version, the campaign was good in there. Campaign was decent in 2. I mean, I don't know. Like, I haven't played it, and so it's one of those things where it's like, I just, on paper, it sounds nice, but at the same time, still not convincing me to, you know, go out and buy the game.
Missions in the series. The same could be said for the original.
At least if I do buy the game, I think that's another thing. I'll probably wait until the game comes out on disc and then buy it like that. So at least I'm not stuck with the game, because that was my mistake. I bought it on Steam. Of course, campaign ain't gonna be, you know, 2 hours, and then they made sure they released it 2 weeks in advance, so, you know, people couldn't get their refunds and stuff. So, yeah, I was stuck with the game when the full game had released, and then that's why I got to see all the bugs and the glitches and stuff. So, yeah, I just think that from now on, it's like if you guys, and that was something where it was like, I did see where, you know, people were kind of comparing like Fortnite's success right now to like where Call of Duty is at. And yeah, it's like, because Fortnite has always been original, and plus on top of that, whatever modes that there's like one mode that you gotta pay for in that game, and that was the original mode that came out when Fortnite very first released. But other than that, all the like fan created stuff, any new things that Fortnite adds, all free. The only thing, that they'll have you pay for is the cosmetics. Like, so yeah, weapon skins, skins for your characters. That's the only thing that you're paying for. Why Call of Duty isn't going in that same path and direction and having it where the only mode that we can play is, well, okay, so yeah, they have it where you can play, DMZ and Warzone for the last Call of Duty. But it's like, no, the whole game needs to be, my thing is this, if you're charging $70 for a game, it either needs to be where we get all of the stuff free for that one time when the game is available. So yeah, all the seasons that come out, all that crap, and we get to download that and play with that. Or it's like you need to have it where the game is free, meaning the single player, multiplayer, Warzone, the zombies mode that they're adding, and then you have it where we pay for the cosmetics. But it's like, it's just defeating the purpose of buying a game, and it's like, I'm buying a game and you're giving me the bare minimum. Like that, no, bruh, that's not cool.
From 2009. An undoubtedly harrowing level, but one of Call of Duty's more impactful from a storytelling perspective. But where No Russian was effective as a catalyst for a great story, this year's take on it ultimately ends up being fairly inconsequential in the grand scheme of the plot. It just feels like it's there for the sake of it. Its only achievement
they probably just added like, oh yeah, let's do something from the past Call of Duties. They're pretty much what he said. It's like they're just kind of like pulling in stuff from the past Call of Duties and just trying to compile it up in one big game. Like, you're taking the highlights, and it's like, fam, at times, people just don't like the highlights. They like the full thing. So I'm saying, give us a full game. Don't just give us like, oh, an occasional highlight there, an occasional highlight there, but then we gotta pay all this other money for the other, and it's, yeah, bruh. Y'all worry way too much about the money for this game.
As if that nail hadn't been hit on the head enough times.
My thing is this, if money ain't an issue, if money ain't the main thing that y'all are worried about, then have it where the game comes out free.
It attempts to say nothing further than terrorism is bad, as innocent lives fuel yet another conflict. It's a shame that the campaign doesn't look to explore these themes further, especially in a time when the issues it takes on are so prescient. Instead, Modern Warfare 3 opts to engineer pure shock. Rather than smartly comment on the morally complex topics, it eagerly takes advantage of for entertainment value.
Our missiles were meant to be a deterrent. Peace through strength.
It makes for a 4-hour story of limited thrills, with
Dang, it's
fairly
only 4
obvious twists
hours?
and nostalgia plays. It promises excitement, but is frustratingly vacuous at its core. You spend so little time on missions accompanied by your squad mates that any emotional connections forged between
Dang,
yourself
I can play
and
this game like for 4 streams, and then that's crazy.
Price, Soap, Gaz or Ghost feel completely manufactured and ineffective, especially when it attempts to generate any sense of peril. And before you know it, Modern Warfare 3 just ends. Without any true resolution or definitive closure to the looming threat, it's simply
I feel like a recommendation that I could, because there was a game, I think it was like Operation Flashpoint, I think that's what that game was called. Why didn't go down that route when it comes to like campaign? You have it where it's like, okay, you get dropped down on like, okay, so yeah, if you want to use the Warzone map as the, you know, for the single player, why not have it where it's something in that fashion, where it's like you're giving people a military simulation, but I just feel like they're trying to make it into an action-packed movie and stuff, and it's like, yeah, don't get me wrong, that's cool too, but at the same time, it's like, if you want to do something with campaign, it's like you really got to go above and beyond and actually look like you guys are sitting down in the studios working on this stuff. And I feel like Operation Flashpoint, I think it was it Dragon Rights? It was one of the two. But I just remember playing that game and I was like, fam, this is like, that was like one of my first times playing a game where it gave you like a military simulation, or even have it where it's like a single player of squad or something, you know, or what are some other like, or Arma, you know, but it's like, give people like that military simulation, but it's just, yeah, I just think that with this game, they're not really, you know, trying to do something productive. They're just trying to rush. And that's what happens when you guys want to release a game every year. It's like, no, do some stuff where it's like, okay, right now you guys got the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5s out. Have it where it's day one of the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5s come out. Call of Duty comes out. Give you guys nothing but years to just work on the game for as long as you want to work on it, and then when the next consoles come out, then that's when you guys come out with another Call of Duty. But it's like when you guys are just rushing these games, this is what happens.
Simply rolls to credits. It's a quite sudden finale to a woefully underwritten story, capped off with a
That's
laughable
crazy, though.
sunrise
4 hours?
backdropped cutscene. But credit must be
they're
given
charging
where it's due.
$70
And
for
even
that?
though it's completely expected of a Call of Duty game, I have to say that the gunplay along the way is thankfully great. Smooth,
They
snappy,
did work
and
on that. I
sounding
remember them
superb.
talking on that, trying to make it like the OG Call
The
of
fizz
Duty.
and eventual clunk of each bullet as they reach their destination is fantastic. Those destinations, though, are likely the endless waves of cannon fodder being thrown your way. Enemy AI, seemingly betrayed by the shift from linear to more sandbox-style areas, often appears dumb as bricks, as they run out of cover with abandon and into the deadly arms of gunfire like it's a long-lost friend. It's very kind for them to sit absolutely still while you line up sniper shot after sniper shot, noticing their friends heads first around them, but doing absolutely nothing to avoid the same fate themselves. There's a real lack of variety to these combat encounters too.
And imagine, my thing is this, imagine a Call of Duty game where it's like, okay, so let's say the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5s, they're out for like 7 years, right? So they spend like half of that time working on whatever Call of Duty is out, right? And then they spend that other half, like, you know, working on, so like, especially because I'm pretty sure they can get in contact with the PlayStation and Xbox and be like, okay, when are you guys going to release the Xbox Series X2 and the PlayStation 6? Okay, so you guys are going to release these in 2030? Okay, cool. So it's like, it gives us time to like, okay, we're going to spend that like first 5 years, because yeah, that's when 2020 is when the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5s came out. So that first, so the first 5 years, come out with a Call of Duty, release it, do everything that you possibly can with it and things, and then for the next 5 years, then have it from like, yeah, so 2025 all the way up until 2030 when the next gen, so you guys got a Call of Duty game that's already out, and then people are going out and buying it, so like, and then on top of that, if you guys do like some bundle thing too with the Xbox and PlayStations, and then that's just more money, but it's like, it's giving you guys time to work on this game and to come out with something good. And my thing is this, even if it's on some stuff where it's all like, okay, well, we're already finished and we still got like 3 more years, then spend that time adding content to the game. I'm saying you guys can make this into literally the biggest game of all time if you guys actually sat down and gave it time to make it into the biggest game of all time. But you're giving the game a year and you're trying to make it into the biggest game of all time. I feel like that this is like, you're having people pay full price for a sample. I'm saying, bro, like, you guys really got to sit down and think about this stuff. Like, my thing is this. Like, let's say, for an example, I'm releasing an album, right? If I'm releasing an album, obviously, I'm going to give this album some time. Obviously, I'm going to make sure of it, listen to the songs, all that stuff. If I'm going out and I'm rushing an album, then yeah, then it ain't going to sound as good. And I think a lot of people, it's like that. You don't see an artist where it's all like, oh, well, let me spend, a year working on this, and then they don't give themselves time, but then they got a deadline of when they're supposed to release this, and then it comes out. That's why you see where things be having bad ratings, because you guys are rushing this stuff. You're not giving it time. Y'all gotta give these games time, bro.
Considering the one experiment Modern Warfare 3 conducts, the open combat missions, is something of a bust, the lack of thinking outside the box elsewhere is a real disappointment, as we're left for a story that does the bare minimum to keep your attention. Modern Warfare 3's campaign commits the biggest sin possible for a globe-trotting action thriller. It's boring. What had the promise to be an intriguingly spun web of mystery instead ends up being a dusty cobweb you'd find at the back of your shed, clinging on to 15-year-old garden toys you once had fun with. It's a pale imitation of the past, made up of underbaked story moments that clash with attempts to introduce new open combat missions designed to encourage player freedom that instead fall flat on their face. Yes, the gunplay is still great, and the graphics and sound design are top tier, but I couldn't help but feel I was playing a shinier, less subtle version of something I've played too many times before. If this is the quality we've come to expect from Call of Duty campaigns, maybe it's for the best if a year or two is taken to reset and raise this low bar back to the heights of old.
4 out of 10? Or
for more Call of Duty, why not check out our video on how Call of Duty reinvented the first-person shooter, or our Art of the Level video on the iconic No Russian mission.
Yeah, it's just they don't give these games enough time, and then that's why people, when they come out, then people are not liking it, and I'm like, well, then it's like, I know Activision has to be paying attention to this stuff. It's like, you guys are not just releasing these games blindly. Like, I know you have to be listening to the fans, and the thing is this, because even like trying to put myself into the, into the equation and stuff, because I know people would say like, oh, well, it's like you're getting your YouTube video criticized or something. I'm like, yeah, but the thing is this, though. People are watching my videos for free. Now, imagine how upset people would be if, like, okay, so if people want to say, for an example, this video right now, me reacting to this Call of Duty review, they're expecting me to say all this top-tier stuff, do all these top-tier things, have the best edits, all this stuff, and it's what you guys are getting right now. I know I'm not having no high production YouTube video, but that's the thing. I'm not charging people as if I am having a high production YouTube video. You guys can simply watch my stuff for free. Now, but no, imagine this though. You're spending $70 to watch my videos. At that point, no, I feel like that, yeah, when you're putting money into something, if you're investing into something, and then they're just taking this money, the thing is this, what sounds crazy is that last year's Call of Duty sounds more interesting than this year's Call of Duty. In my opinion, last year's Call of Duty was the worst Call of Duty. So now you're expecting me to go out and to buy this next Call of Duty. And it's like, the thing is this, based off of what I've heard of the campaign, don't sound all that good. People were trying to hype up beta. Yeah, beta, I remember last year for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, it was good. But that was just beta. When the game eventually did come out, it was like, okay, multiplayer was crashing on me. What the crazy thing about it, besides even multiplayer and just all that, the whole game itself wouldn't even start up on my Steam account. So now I'm at leave to like ask you guys that question where it's like, are you guys porting over Xbox One and PlayStation 4 version to PC when you guys very well could just port over? You're developing the game on a computer, right? I never heard no game being developed on an Xbox or a PlayStation, but I'd imagine that the game is being developed on an or I don't know, maybe they are developing, they somehow some way managed to rework development systems to where you can develop a game on a PlayStation or Xbox, and that's why, because it's being developed on that. But my thing is this, if it's not, and it's being developed and worked on a PC, why are you guys not porting over the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 version on the PC where people got the parts to play the game? But it's like you're releasing a game and it's like, you know, the game ain't gonna be compatible. Because no, that was the issue that I was having with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Every time I go and download this game and try to start it up, it wouldn't start up. Game would crash before it would even start up. It'll get on like that like client, or not client, but it'll just get on like that page or like that small box where it shows the game game, but then after that, small box disappears, and then it just goes right back. If you know what I'm talking about with Steam, then it'll just show, instead of it saying stop or games in session or whatever it says, it'll just go right back to saying play. So I had to uninstall Steam, and then I tried seeing if it would work on Battle.net. I had to uninstall Battle.net just so I could get this, along with every other game that I had installed on both platforms. I had to reinstall Call of Duty along with every other game I had installed, just for then the game started working. A game shouldn't do no stuff like that. I'm not gonna spend $70 just for a game to do the same thing, especially when I want to play it on PC. I play better with a mouse and keyboard. I shouldn't have to be forced to buy the game on console just so I could get a better experience. So that's what I'm saying. I'm like, for one, the game should not cost money, because it's like, the thing is this. And I remember using this example in another Call of Duty video, but it's like, so what, a Fiji water bottle, let's say a Fiji water bottle costs like $3, right? That's when it's full, okay? I've drank a little bit of it, but no, so this is what they're charging, right? This is what Activision is charging for the game, but they're giving you that much, and then but you're still paying $3 for literally that much, and then when you want to go and get more of an experience with Call of Duty or whatever the situation is, you gotta keep going back to, like, okay, so yeah, if this is like, let's say we're like using Fiji water as the example, I gotta keep going to Fiji just so I can get more water, but I gotta continuously keep giving you guys money for a better experience. That's not, no, to me that sounds like a scam, and that just doesn't sound like the game that I would be investing into. Meanwhile, you got indie developers, you got where that one company, or not company, but the video game BattleBit Remastered, you have it in there where it's like they're charging you $14 for that game and you're getting a good experience. Where are some other games on the list? I'm saying there's games out there worth investing into. Meanwhile, Call of Duty, they want to take up all the marketing and take up all the advertisements. None of these other indie games never get to see like the day of light, because Call of Duty, or Activision, they want to use all this money for Call of Duty, and it's like, do you guys not realize that your game is broke? I'm saying, like, that it's that type of stuff where it's like, why are you guys still charging people money for this game knowing that it's broke? I'm saying, like, what Activision need to do is they need to have it where if we're paying $70 for this game, all content, from DLCs, from character skins, because my thing is this, I'm not buying Call of Duty so I could play as Nicki Minaj. No disrespect to Nicki Minaj, but that's not my reason for buying Call of Duty. I'm buying it so I can have a better experience when I'm playing multiplayer. I want to have a better experience when playing Warzone. I want to have a good experience when I'm playing single player. I'm not trying to have it where it's all like, oh, I'm playing this Nicki Minaj in Warzone and stuff. My thing is this, again, no disrespect to Nicki Minaj, but nobody cares if I'm Nicki Minaj in Warzone, okay? I'm trying to have a different, like, good experience when I'm playing Warzone. So I'm saying, like, if you guys are wondering why you're not on that same level as Fortnite, a game that's free, a game where you would think, like, visually, like, if nobody had played both Call of Duty and Fortnite, then you look at the history of Call of Duty, and then you look at the history of Fortnite, but then once you add the current state of where those games are at, and you see more people playing Fortnite than literally a franchise of Call of Duty games, is because the old Call of Duty games are probably having it where there's no lobbies, and if there are any active lobbies, it's probably filled with a bunch of hackers. And then you got it where the new Call of Duties, it's like, it's broken. And meanwhile, it's like Fortnite, it's like, here it is, this game's been around for like, what, a lot less than Call of Duty and stuff, but meanwhile, the game is more stable and capable of working than Call of Duty, a company that's been around a lot longer. You would think that with just the history of Call of Duty and the history of Fortnite, you think that you guys would be so far advanced when it comes to gaming. And you're not. And to me, I'm like, nah, bruh, that's just sad to see stuff like that. Where it's like, I seen this game, I got into this game when I was a kid in high school, and I seen how fun it was, and I seen the, like, the friends getting together and things. I'm like, I think it was maybe one time, like, out of all the Call of Duty games that released, be like, because there's like that half of, like, me and my friends in high school, and, like, when we were in school versus, like, now that we graduated, we were sitting down playing this game day and night when we were in high school. I had to say, after I graduated, I played Call of Duty with my, like, the same group of friends. Not even, like, the same, because there was some friends that wasn't even there. I played Call of Duty one time after graduation, because that's when Call of Duty started falling off. And it was like, yeah, they were releasing these Call of Duties that nobody didn't really particularly care for because it was these futuristic Call of Duties and all that stuff. But even with like Modern Warfare releasing the 2019 version, you would have thought that that would have brought the friend group back together. It didn't. And I'm like, that to me is just sad, where it's like you see stuff like that and it's like, why aren't you guys, like, if you're wondering why you guys aren't getting the same amount of like love and things that like the old Modern Warfare series, Black Ops, World at War, like the OG Call of Duty games, if you guys are wondering why, it's like literally look back at just the times when people were really having fun with the games. Look at how people were having, you buy a game for $60 and you'll get a good experience. Now it's like you'll buy a game for $60 just to play beta. Nah, bruh. It's, to me, I'm like, gaming today, especially with games like Call of Duty, but it's like, I think a lot of developers need to really sit down, go back into the studios, and rework the game into what games were once, like, was and stuff. Because what you guys got going on now, I'm saying, that's why I'm like, I just don't give games any more chances, because I'm like, I'm not trying to be out here spending $70 just to test the game out. And I'm like, nah, bruh, it's not worth it. So anyways, yeah, and that being said, make sure y'all go subscribe to IGN for more videos like this. Like, subscribe to me too, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.